Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the Rothco 5-in-1 multi-purpose tool. Alright, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to take a look at this 5-in-1 combined multi-purpose tool from Rothco. One thing I have to say about Rothco, and I noticed this because there are a few places in town that carry some of their products, is as of late, their gear quality has greatly improved. This has some pros, this has some cons. We're going to get to that in a second. But you need to remember that this isn't a tool for, going into the forest and chopping down redwoods. This is a tool for common camp tasks. And if you're going to take the shovel and try to dig a 100-mile tunnel, it's not going to work. If you're going to decode a fire pit or maybe a hole for, your garbage or whatever, that's what it's for, and it'll work perfectly. Now, the two modifications that I've done to this, I wouldn't say they're modifications, they're more cons than anything, but not big deals. We're first of all with the hatchet. The hatchet head comes very, very, very dull. Okay? It almost looks as if somebody took a file and just went over it a couple times and said, okay, that's kind of the shape of a hatchet. But the middle, there was no edge. So to fix this, no big deal. Even for the most newbie of survivor and prepper person, not a hard thing to do. You can do it with a file. You can just file a head on there. You can do it with one of these pucks that I have to sharpen my other hatchets, and I actually use this to finish it. How I did it was I took it on my bench belt sander, and I just went zip and zip, and I have a tool that gives me the proper angles. It sits underneath it. So, you can choose a 25, 35 degree angle, whatever, and put it on there. I took the fine side of this, as you can tell by some of the leftover residue there, and I just sharpened it up, and I stropped it, and it is incredibly sharp now. So that was my only really complaint about this, was sharpness of this tool. I'm going to show you another area where that comes in handy too, and when it comes into the picture, if I can get it out of here. There we go. It was stuck on the saw. All right, let's get into the shovel real quick. I'm going to show you how all this works. Amazingly enough, the system that they use for this is very robust. All right, let's show you the shovel head. Now, in the soil out here, and depending on where you live, I have a lot of tree limbs, very rough soil. It's caliche soil. It can be almost rock-like. One of the things they didn't do on this was put any kind of edge on your cutting and digging area. This took no time at all. I literally put it flat, took a file, and just filed an edge onto it. This does not have to be razor sharp, doesn't have to be hair popping sharp. It's just my own little personal thing. If I'm going to do this, I wanted to put a little edge on it. You can see where I filed. And I am no master sharpener, and that looks pretty darn neat to me. So don't be afraid when you get something, if it doesn't meet your needs, to modify it. The system works like this. You got your one little cotter pin sort of deal here. There's a little ball detent in there. You're going to push down on that ball detent, push out your item, and choose your next item. So let's put the axe head on here for show. You put that there, line up the holes, push it through. Then you're going to want to tighten this up to the top. Okay? And that will hold this pin tightly in place. That pin, as you can tell, isn't going anywhere. So if I loosen it up, that pin will move. So you don't want to do that. You may loosen up a little bit as you're using it. You just got to be careful. You can always keep like I said, this isn't for chopping down redwoods. This is for making tent stakes, maybe cutting some small pieces of firewood you want to chop up without messing with your knife. The bottom here has a compass, and I'm impressed. The compass actually works. Works very well. Sometimes they think that when they add a compass onto things, it's more of a decoration than anything. The bottom part here unscrews. If you want to put some kind of fishing kit or survival kit in there, you can. Me personally, I just stuff it with some kind of tinder, maybe some dryer lint or something. But it is nice to know that the compass actually works well. All right, moving on. Next tool is your saw blade. And we'll be using this outside to cut up some... the reason I'm using my garden is because my garden out there, I have to clean it up. and I want to make some spikes for the chicken wire that goes around the outside. And this will simulate some basic common tasks that you do at a campsite or at a bug out location or retreat. This is your saw blade. It is very thin, so again, you don't want to go nuts with it. You don't want to shove into it when you're cutting. You use it like a regular saw blade, you know? Don't try to overdo what it's supposed to do. The teeth are very offset, so it's probably pretty aggressive. Probably work pretty well. And this is your pickaxe. Somebody mentioned, why don't they have it on the other end? I kind of like having it as a separate tool, so I'm not worried about this hitting anything or bumping into anything. We're going to use this to just kind of chop up the soil out there, and almost as a tiller to kind of get all the old dead stuff up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it outside, and we're going to use this, all of its different parts and pieces for whatever we need to do, and we'll actually test it out. So give me a second, and we'll be right back with it outside. All right, I've just been messing around with it a little bit here, but the first thing we're going to try is the pickaxe. Just kind of use it as a tiller out here. Be careful of my water line. And as you can tell, it's doing a darn good job. I didn't know I had, oh yeah, the water line goes across to that one. My little drip lines I put out here. Kind of handy when I don't feel like standing over it and watering it for a few minutes. Anyway, as you can tell, this is doing a really good job. This soil isn't the softest soil in the world, as you can hear down there once you get under it. It's also helped me pick out some rocks, break everything up. I threw in some ash in here too to help fertilize it a little bit. Some burned up pellets from a wood stove I was working on. So, give a few more minutes of this. As you can tell, it's working very well. It's nice and secure, not moving, not falling off the head. It's in there good. So let me finish up here, and we'll be back to test the shovel. All right, I did mention that I have some drip lines going through here, and I want to bury this one across because I forgot about it. I thought I ran them all the way around, like that, and I didn't realize I had one going across over. So I'm going to kind of dig a little. Get it under there good. Yep. And you can hear it's hitting that caliche soil down there. Also have a lot of rocks in it too. Very rocky soil. Dig across there. And bury this. Yeah, that seems to be doing a darn good job for as nasty as this soil is. It's really holding up well. Yeah, once you get down to that caliche soil and it's all rocks in it like this, you really gotta put some effort into it. So I'm gonna finish that up. I'm gonna bury this over here. Actually, I can just finish this on camera. This isn't really a big, huge task. There. So if I was digging up, say, a hole where I wanted to put some waste or food waste or whatever, that would have worked perfectly for that chore. Anyway, that is the shovel. As you can tell, none the worse for it. A few scratches, but no damage. I expect it to get scratches. Anyway, let's move on to the next tool. Okay, we got the saw blade on there. Now we're going to be cutting up this piece of wood to make some extra stakes. I need 2 for the other end there in the corners, because see this chicken wire here? We're going to put this chicken wire, I don't know, can you see that in camera? Yeah, you can. We're going to run it all the way around this year so we don't have rabbits eating our stuff. So let's give it a try and see. That in camera? Yeah, that's in camera. There you go. Now, is a Baco Laplander or a Silky going to be faster? Yeah, but a Baco Laplander doesn't come with an axe and a shovel on it. Every kind of multi-tool is a compromise, so you got to remember that when you're working with it. So, we got our first stake cut. Now I'm going to mess around with the axe a little bit and use it to kind of make a point on the end here. We'll see how that works. All right, well, the first thing we want to know is, will the axe chop? All right, so I've got my two little things here, but I want to try this out real quick. I just want to see if my idea will work. I can make a point out of that. That's practically feather sticking back better than some of my old cheap knives. It's definitely cutting into the wood. Can you see that? I want to make sure that's in camera. Yep. It's hard to see the monitors when you're out here in the sunlight. And again, not loose, not falling off. So it's a little close for my comfort. Let's find another piece of wood to chop with this. It's not as thick, but it's also not as close to my fingers. Yeah. Yeah, right off. So, not a bad tool. Again, you know, this isn't going to be, you know, your Fisker's axe or something like that, but for what we're doing here with some simple tasks, it'll definitely get the job done. So I'm going to finish making the tips of these, making them into points. Then we're going to use the hammer on the back here to pound them in. All right, so we got them good enough for a point. Again, this is really just for video here, but I wanted to take them down to a little bit of a smaller point. And I'm not going to put them here, but I'm going to drive them in here because it's better in the camera. There you go. So if you got to make tent stakes, you know that's going to work. Eventually I'll put these back where they're supposed to go and finish these two up. But for the sake of the video, I'd say that does a pretty good job. Now the last thing on here is a tent stake puller. I'm going to show you how it works because this ground is pretty well aerated now, so it won't be a struggle to get it out, but I'll show you how it works. I happen to have a tent stake over here. We'll just put that in the ground. Another handy part of the hammer. And we're going to take that, get that out of here, take that and just pull up on it. So that's how all the tools on here work. So let's take it back inside and I'll give you my final thoughts on it. You can see that blade held up nicely. I don't see any damage to the end of it. So I'm pretty pleased with it. So let's go back inside. All right, so I'm just bringing it back in here. I'm going to wipe everything off. My biggest surprise was this hatchet blade. That's still sharp. And I haven't messed with it yet. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave it alone because it's still sharp. I wasn't sure of the steel because it wasn't sharpened, and that kind of made me a little suspicious about it. But it's still sharp. And that chopped through, you know, a bunch of little pieces of wood out there without any problem. I still made 2 more stakes with it and made the points with it. So, yeah, all right. It held up. Shovel, of course, was great. No problems with that. I didn't have any kind of wear issues other than, you know, the normal scratches you'll get from it. But sharpening the ends did help a lot with the ground out there. You know, that hard caliche soil. This actually performed better than I thought it would. I've seen a few videos of people using this and pushing too hard on it and bending it and getting it stuck. You know, and that's the size of branch I'd cut with this, what I was cutting out there. You know, like around that. You're not going to start cutting off huge logs with this. That's when your Baco Laplander or your Silky or whatever comes in handy. But for using this around a camp, maybe to make up some kindling or to chop up some thicker branches, not bad. Now I will try it with a thicker branch too, just to see if it holds up, because I already have. This is going to be going in my car, by the way, to replace one of those really cheap, crummy shovels that's already been broken a few times. So this is going to go in my car to replace that. But so I will try this out and see, because I already have a Laplander in the car. So just in case, you know, this doesn't work out, got another one. And of course, the pickaxe worked perfectly. I'm going to wipe it off there. And it looks like it's ready to get packed up and go back in the bag. So I'm pleased with it. I will put a link down below where you can pick these up on Amazon. They are an inexpensive kind of a multi-tool. And as I said outside, you know, a multi-tool is a compromise. You're never going to get the best in every single tool in a multi-tool. but you'll get good serviceable tools. And as you can tell, it all did what it was supposed to do. One of the things that drives me nuts when people do reviews on these things, the first thing they do is sharpen the edge of the shovel, put it on the handle, and go out and start chopping on a tree with it. And I'm like, really? That's not what the tool is for, you know? And then they complain because it bends. I'm like, well, duh. So that is the Rothco 5-in-1 multi-purpose tool. Like I said, I'll put a link down below. They run about 20 bucks. You can pick them up in our Amazon store down below. And we will appreciate if you do that. Like I said, even the compass works. Can't beat it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out our Amazon store, not just for this tool, but for all our other survival and prep related stuff. And even if you don't want anything of that nature in there, you can still shop after clicking the link down below, and still pays the channel something so we can bring you some cool gear. And don't forget to check out our Thrive Life link if you're looking to get stocked up on freeze-dried food. Got everything you need right there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.